tell you what, I've seen some of the comments I've seen about Liverpool. I've seen Newcastle fans yesterday. Probably the C word came out a few times when I'm reading Newcastle tweets saying Liverpool can't handle pressure. So it's going to be an interesting evening.
It's not only Liverpool can't handle pressure. Like the narrative's wild. The narrative's flying about in the media. Like the outpouring, the outcry of this Isak deal. It's like he's the only effing player in the history of the game that has ever wanted to play for another club and gone down this route. It's like he's the only one. And it's like Liverpool are trying to belittle Newcastle by offering how much? A fucking British record bid. Oh, that's belittling. Who the hell do they think they are, Mo? Scouse Mo joins us as well. This is mental.
The hypocrisy flying around at the moment is just insane. Like some of the stuff that these Newcastle fans are spewing and the media as well, it's just mental. Like I'm looking at, for example, like you just mentioned, there's players that want to leave the club. They're going after Wissa, and Wissa's doing the exact same thing to Brentford, and they seem to be okay with that, offering them 35 million when Brentford won 60 million. Like, is that not belittling? That's a lot more belittling. Like, that's basically half price what they're trying to get him for. Honestly, the hypocrisy right now, what's going on is crazy. But I'm glad the football's back on. And honestly, part of me just can't wait until this summer transfer window's closed and we can just focus on the footy. I'm not going to even lie.
Focus on the footy is so hard at the moment. And until the window closes, it's going to be like that. Like I've stopped responding to tweets and questions and comments. And there's enough people doing daily or hourly updates. Like there's no such thing as an hourly minute by minute update unless you absolutely have a direct line to the club. Let it all play out, let it all pan out. And look, people in the chat, it's like as well, just the levels of impatience. Whatever will be, Keith. I mean, that's the way I look at it. And we'll get on to sort of our opinions on what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. But talking about fights and spats, you messaged me about an altercation you had with a certain player. You have the floor for a couple of minutes to explain to the watching public how you nearly or have got into an altercation with a famous ex-player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's from what everyone has said, it's a nice segue when we're talking about hypocrisy, because there's nothing more that winds me up in this industry than hypocrisy. I have heard ex-players coming out and saying what Isak's doing is the worst thing since sliced bread. If, social media these days, in my day, in your day, you were in the back page of the bloody newspapers, day in, day out, orchestrating moves behind the scenes like a certain Stan Collymore. Stan Collymore wrote an essay talking about his disappointment in the way that Isak has approached this, questioning his personality, questioning him as a person, but he's taken a lot of personal digs. And I asked Collymore, I said to him, well, Collymore, that's funny because I seem to remember, or I heard through the grapevine, that you actually engineered a move away from Nottingham Forest to come to Liverpool behind the scenes. You actually engineered a move that was so controversial at the time that Nottingham Forest refused to pay your loyalty bonus because you engineered a move against their say-so behind their back. That clearly rubbed Stan Collymore up the wrong way, because he responded with an essay longer than what I would have written in my English literature A-level exams, yeah?
Or longer than Lewis's agenda for today's show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you admit it's mine. Thank God.
Sorry, lads, I made you read all that. I'm sure 50% of you didn't read it.
Yeah, we just go for the flow. Listen, I got this to say, ex-players. All your ex-players that are watching this now who are going to go on to TalkSport and have an opinion, remember one thing. The modern day millennial, Gen Z, Gen X, we know how to prompt ChatGPT. Yeah, so I know how to ask ChatGPT the questions, and I know how to get the right answers out of it. So let's not. Don Hutchinson was another one. Yeah, Don Hutchinson, the disgrace. But who do you not remember when Don Hutchinson refused to sign his new deal at Everton to force a move out to Sunderland? But Everton made sure that deal happened. So there's a lot of hypocrisy, Grizz, in it. Don't get me wrong. Isak has done what he's done, but this is not the first time, and it will not be the last.
It's simply not. I mean, does anyone get the reason why? Is it because it's just Liverpool? Like, has anyone got a theory? Like, I want help. Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like, talking about having journalists in their back pocket. Fuck me, man. Like, are you not stupid or something? The only news that's coming from any journalist is the Newcastle journalist and Ornstein. No one else, none of the Liverpool journalists are coming out with daily videos and daily reports and daily articles. Everything is from the Newcastle propaganda side. What are you lot on about? Liverpool made a bid. You didn't like it. You told us to fuck off. We said, all right, we fucked off. No problem. Yeah. It's not our fault the player is begging for us. It's not our fault the player wants us. The player wants to play for Liverpool. We're saying, listen, Alexander, sort out between your own club. We've got the money and we know you want to play for us, but your club's a prick. Your club's a prick right now. That's where it is, right, Lewis?
No, I agree. I don't remember anyone doing woe is us when Mascherano refused to play. I don't remember anyone doing woe is us when Torres wanted to leave or Suarez wanted to leave or any of this. It's at the end of the day, people can be pissed off all they want that we've spent money and won the league and brought in the best players and are getting linked with the best players. They can't handle it. That's their fault for not being able to keep up. It is purely people spinning their agenda to make us out to be the bad guys here. All we've done is put a bid in and say we're interested. We didn't make him refuse to train. We didn't make him refuse to play. We didn't make him train alone or go to Sociedad to do it. That's his choice. He's done that of his own volition. That's nothing to do with us. If a player's doing that and is so adamant they're coming to the point where they're revolting against their club, Newcastle at the moment, I might rant for a minute, but Newcastle at the moment have it in their heads that because they've had money and because they've won their first trophy in 70 years, that they are a big fish in a small pond. You're a small fish in a big pond trying to keep up with us and Arsenal and City and all these other teams in the Premier League who are pushing for the title and top four. They think keeping Isak and allowing and believing in their head that they have the power here to keep hold of this top quality player will spin the narrative that they are a massive club. You're not. If anything, you're cutting off your nose to spite the face, because rather than investing the money from him in other areas of the pitch where you can improve, like we saw 2 seasons ago, they capitulated as soon as they got a few injuries and had the Champions League season. Keeping Isak at the detriment to the rest of the club, getting the money and spending it elsewhere does not make you a big club. It makes you poorly ran. Rather than trying to strengthen and go for more titles and more trophies, you think you've got the moral high ground and picked some sort of victory by saying, no, we're keeping him. He's going to be gone in a year's time if he doesn't move this summer. There is no way he is going to still be at the club. And just because you think you've kept hold of this prized asset, this world-class striker who's never going to play for your club again, that you are suddenly comparable to us and City and all those others, it doesn't work that way. If he's not playing for you, it's an expensive asset on your bench or in your reserves who's not benefiting your team at all. And that is not how a top-level club is ran. We had it with Suarez, just because if we'd have kept Suarez, it papered over a lot of the cracks. And just because we think we've got this 1 or 2 brilliant world-class players doesn't make you a massive club. At the time, we were stagnating until Klopp came in. It doesn't work that way as much as they like to believe it is.
We're going to get into the statements made by both clubs. I wonder if you can share that statement with us, Lewis, while I get the lads' opinions on this, because obviously yesterday was the PFA Player Awards ceremony, and Salah's might be a bit gutted because we know Salah loves the limelight. Well, he's not a show off per se, but he does love the limelight only because he's the king, and the kings, deserve the limelight. Ben, yesterday's while the events was taking place, there was a what's his name? A statement. What do we make of this? So Isak came out with a statement via his Instagram. He said, "I'm proud to be recognized by my fellow professionals, blah, blah, blah." We're not interested in that. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates. We're not interested in that. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. This is where it gets interesting. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. The silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made, and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if there's issues only emerging now is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now, and why change is the best interest of everyone, not just myself. Signed, Alexander Isak. What do we make of that, people? And then we'll get into the Newcastle response. But this was needed, Ben? Or is this a case of everyone's been chatting shit about me? I need a right of reply here.
it's exactly what it is, isn't it? How much shit could he take? Apparently, he's the worst villain in football, when realistically, no one even knows who's telling the truth. And let's be honest, you know, I can tell for a fact that if he's telling the truth, there's no way Newcastle didn't offer him a big deal. For me, he's the best striker in Europe at the minute. Not on his day, you know. You've got the Irelands and shit like that. The most all-round striker, should I say? And to be honest, I am glad he's fucking pulled it on them. They needed to be fucking taught a bit of a lesson. Like Lewis has just said, they're a big club in Newcastle. Not a big club outside of their little bubble. Do you know what I mean? And you know, if you want to act like the big boys, which they are trying to do, well, unfortunately, you're just not. And they can't. You know, he probably feels their failure is fucking letting him down, and he can't take that shit anymore. And how many times can he watch the market where they're just going to strikers and getting turned down? Eventually, he's had to say something. And do you know what? I work in the Middle East. I always said to a few people that I speak to, like, he was never going to get out of it by being nice. And I think he kept his mouth shut for a while. But after a while, he's just gone, fuck this. This is going on far too long. He's put the pressure on them now, and I am made up the spotlights on them. All I can see them doing is flapping. Their inexperience is showing. I think it showed the manager's inexperience. And, you know, they can say all they want, but player power is real. And he's absolutely dropped the bomb on Newcastle, and they're struggling to cope with it. And I am made up he's done that, because all the shit I've seen, and you know, Keith, you've just been talking about these names. Don Hutchinson, what's he talking about? The fool? Do you know what I mean? Like, you even got ex-Liverpool players saying it. Do you know what? If it was any other club, this shit wouldn't be going on. They weren't fucking saying this when Sterling was kicking up a fuss in the background. What are they all talking about? And the reason being is, Grizz, Liverpool Football Club, they're all shitting themselves that if they get him, Liverpool wipe the floor with them. And I am glad he's done it, because the ball's moving now and the end is near.
Ben's glad that he's done it. Scousemo, I'm going to come to you because there's a comment here. And Total Eclipse says, Grizz, don't you think that statement has shot himself in the foot and backfired? Is there any danger of that, lads?
I mean, if you look at Newcastle statements, which you mentioned, we're going to look into, they don't have no intentions to sell him, it looks like, from that statement. But I'm with Ben. I'm very glad that he dropped that bombshell last night. Like, it's about time that he came out and spoke. Well, we already knew kind of what his intentions were. Like, obviously training at Real Sociedad, not turning up at preseason games, not turning up for the first game of the season. We knew he didn't want to stay at the club anymore. And it's quite obvious that promises were made to Isak last season or last summer when he signed that contract. Promises were made to him, and these promises haven't been fulfilled. And he's 100% right in saying, when trust is broken, then you need to move on from the relationship. You need to carry on from there and like, you know, end the relationship at that point. What's to say here? Just trying to read that.
I'm going to read it out. I'm going to read it. You finish what you're saying, and I'm going to read it out. Don't worry.
Yes, like within this statement itself. So going back to that comment that you just put up on the screen, did he shoot himself in the foot? I don't think so, because what are they going to do? Leave a player on that's worth £120 million plus on the bench for the next 3 years? That's what Newcastle fans are screaming for, which just blows my mind. Like, are you actually serious? You want a £120 million asset to just sit on the bench for the next 3 years? No reasonable or sensible business would ever allow that to happen. If he does not want to play for the club no more, then you have to cut ties. You have to cash in £120 million, British transfer record, £120 million, and you sell him. It's as simple as that. The guy doesn't want to play for you no more. It doesn't look like he wants to reintegrate with the club. And if Newcastle, I agree so much with Ben and Lou, they think they're at the big table now. Like, they think they're big fish, and they can just put their foot down and say, no, you're not going anywhere. We're going to be moving on to winning the Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, which they're clearly not in the position to do so, because Isak right now is primed to go into his prime years of his career. The next 4 or 5 years is where he wants to win Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. Is he going to do that at Newcastle? No. Is he going to do that at Liverpool? Most likely, yes.
Keith, obviously, basically, as soon as that happened. Now, again, this is quite unique, lads. I don't know what you guys think, right? How often have we seen a club fucking statement come out on the basis of a player's social media post just probably an hour before or something, guys? Like, instantaneous club statement, you know, Keith. Club statement. And this is where it reads. It says, we are disappointed to have been alerted to a social... They've got the notifications on.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to
say. They've got his Instagram notes on, right? And so it says, we are disappointed to have been alerted to a social media post by Alexander Isak this evening. We are clear in response that Alex remains under contract and no commitment has ever been made by a club official that Alex can leave this summer. I mean, there's a couple of things that I could pick up on just that one, right? because club officials, is it old, current ones? Because we know Amanda Stevely is the one who's apparently, supposedly, have offered him a new deal in contract terms, and apparently the rumor mill says that it was the ex-football director that decided when he walked in there is no new contract extension for Isak, and so that's what's upset him. Anyway, we want to keep our best players, blah blah blah, but we also understand they have their own wishes and we listen to their views. Okay, that's encouraging. As explained to Alex and his representatives, we must always take the interests of Newcastle. That's understandable as well. So but what they're saying is, all right, look, we know your players have ambitions and whatever, but we must think of the best interests of Newcastle, right? Now, the team and our supporters, in order to, and we have been clear that the conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. And then that's where the paragraph stops. And guys, check out the next line. We do not foresee these conditions being met. So what are these conditions? The rest is just, we love you, Alex. It's one of those ones, that meme. Come to me. Come to me. You're all right. Yeah. What'd you make of that statement, Keith?
It contradicts itself. You start by talking about how, Newcastle effectively, never made a commitment that they were going to sell this summer. And then in the same breath, you say that conditions haven't been met for a sale. So either if he was never for sale and it was never going to be for sale, why they wouldn't even discuss conditions, because there wouldn't be any conditions. There is no conditions in a no. It's no. That's it. It's done. Right? It's pretty much like he wanted to leave and we don't want him. We said no. So there's clearly a gray area in a conversation that's happened that has allowed Isak to say, okay, conditions met. I mean, we can all guess what those conditions are. Club comes in for the value that we have and we get a replacement, and then you can go along your merry way. So to say that it wasn't, and then to say that it was, and then to have the mouthpieces come out all summer and say that it wasn't and categorically no, the messaging from Newcastle this entire summer has been poor. But I think sometimes I feel like sometimes everyone gets into arguments on social media, and I think sometimes we forget about real life. Okay, so let's put this into a real life context, right? You work at a company, okay? You're working under a manager. A manager turns around to you and goes, do this, do that, and I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to give you a pay rise, right? You hit these KPIs, and that's exactly what you're going to get, right? Now, you're grinding, you're winning League Cups. You're the second top goal scorer in the league. You got your team into the Champions League. You've done everything that that was expected from you, and you expect the club or the manager above you to give you that promotion and that pay rise. Now that manager leaves, new manager comes in. I got something different. I got a different path. Mr. Manager, like, obviously I've been going through this process and I'm expected blah, 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 and I've done this, that, and the other. Yeah, we don't have the budget for that, sorry. Excuse me? I would be on LinkedIn the same day DMing people and saying, where's the jobs? I will be on Indeed.co.uk, cheeky plug, to do search for jobs. And I'll be applying for jobs because I would have felt like I have been lied to. And that, by all accounts, and everyone can agree, is exactly what's happened to Isak. Amanda Stavely has categorically said to Isak, I'm going to give you what you want, and you're the best player in the world, and blah, 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 blah. And then basically what's happened, and it's quite similar, if you remember, what we went through with Trent, right? Because Trent, when we lost our director of football, and then we lost the other director of football, and there was just kind of abyss that FSG was going to sell and blah, 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 and we didn't really deal with the contract at hand at the time. This is exactly what happened to Newcastle. There's an abyss. They didn't deal with the situation, and Isak and Newcastle said, well, you didn't give me what I asked for. At the end of the season, I am going to leave. And Newcastle clearly said, well, if you're going to do that, then we need to make conditions met. So to go from that to now turn around and be like, he's not for sale and we're going to dig our heels, all that messaging just doesn't make sense. So apply real life to the situation. And that's why I have sympathy for Isak in this scenario, because clearly he was promised something. It was reneged. And then afterwards, now you're turning around and be like, right, cool.
You're the bad guy. Yeah.
You're the bad guy, and play another season, and then we'll do it next season. Why would I trust you? Why would I trust you?
Yeah.
Go on, Ben. What was you going to say, Ben?
Just said they're full of shit.
Basically, there you have it, lads. They're full of shit. I mean, look. Look. Keith's broken it down. Apply it to real life. Now, obviously, it's very difficult to apply when you're talking about these multi-million-pound deals, whatever. But it's the same theory. It's the same theory in practice, guys, just on a different level, or different scale. I can't remember who I was speaking to, but I genuinely think that it's a case of Newcastle not being the big dogs. I've never been big dogs and don't know how to handle the situations as a club, as directors, as a coach, as a whole institution. They've got a player that wants out and they can possibly make up to about 130, 40 million pound on him and reinvest and turn their club around fortunes, like really become the big dogs. Like we went through the Coutinho phase. Guys, let's call a spade a spade. We were in the shits, man. We were in the dumps, man. Yeah. And then Coutinho came along, gave us that financial power that we wouldn't have got. We wouldn't have got, guys. There was no other way we were going to be able to invest that kind of money. Virgil, Alisson, Fabinho, boom, 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 on the back of that. Why do they not want to copy the best run club in world football, probably, in Liverpool Football Club? Copy our model. Look what we've done. Look what we went to. Lewis, it seems like after the statements and everything else, we're back to where we are in square one. They need to get replacements in. They trying to make bids left, right, and center. Today we find out Visa has been low. I mean, the irony is fucking off the charts, lad. So now they've lowballed Brentford in a £40 million offer, which has been rejected. Is there slight panic setting in, lads, that it's not as though we haven't got the money and we can't do a deal. It's because of their inadequacies in the market that we may mess this up, or this could mess up for us.
I have no doubt that if we don't get Isak, if for some reason that Newcastle just turn around and say, nah, fuck you, he's staying, that's it, end of, we will have backups. We will have a contingency. I feel like a lot of people are sort of saying, look, it's Isak or bust. We'll have a plan. That's just how we've been around the past few years. My only worry is I think the longer this drags on, I am getting slightly less confident. And I do think that Newcastle bidding the amount they did for Visa today, they should be at panic stations, absolutely. And it's not like they haven't got the money, because if you look at what they tried to bid for Sesko, the money's there. They've clearly got it in them. I know they've just signed Jacob Ramsey from Villa. Like, I get that. But they will have the cash there to get in a Johan Visa. And there's a part of my brain, that little tinfoil hat part of it, that's saying, I think Newcastle have sort of deliberately lowballed this Visa one as a sort of, well, if we don't get him, Isak's going nowhere kind of thing. As like a sort of big fuck you to us to say, look, we've said he's staying. If we don't get Visa, oh no, what a shame. I guess he's just going to have to stay at the club. And that is probably a daft way of looking at it, but there's just a little part of my head that's saying it. And I do think that there's other options out there. Samu from Porto would be a great shout. They can go in for Visa again. They were getting linked to Nicholas Jackson. There's other options there. I just think Newcastle are dragging this out till it gets to the point where they can't sell Isak. I'm just slowly getting less and less confident. I don't know if anyone agrees or disagrees with me. If anyone wants to jump in, by all means, because I'm slowly getting to that point now where I'm just like, you know what? I just want me definitive answer. Are we getting them? Are we not? Okay, if we're not, Brill, let's just move on to someone else. And there's people who were jumping at me on my stream last night saying, well, that's not fair to Isak. That's not fair to us. Like I said before, we didn't make him go on strike. We didn't make him stop training or try and force the move. That's his decision. At the end of the day, my concern is Liverpool Football Club. I want this club to succeed. Whatever happens next in Alexander Isak's career, if he doesn't join us, that's his decision to make. We didn't make him do anything. My concern is who comes into this club, who improves us, who wins us trophies and competes for that top spot in the front line. Someone's career who doesn't join this club is not my concern. If he joins, brilliant. If he doesn't, as long as we move forward, I'm not too bothered, to be honest. It might be harsh, but
I like it. I like the different opinions and thought patterns going through our heads. Ben, get yours on that. What do you think then? Because I get what Lewis is saying. Look, all right, it's all fun and games, and we love you, Isak, and we would have been amazed to get, like, it would have been amazing to have you. I want to play devil's advocate. Because I don't want to, because people already started the abuse and everything else, and the title. The lads at Index have done me with the title. Isak deal off. not even a question mark, you know. So I'm with my face on it, smiling away, like fucking done me like a kipper there, right? But I'll get into it. I'll give my opinion as well. Ben, we don't leave Isak stranded like this, or do we? Or like Lewis says, we're cold-blooded killers. We tried our best. Your club's a prick, and we have to move on. What do you think?
Well, I think we'd look absolutely stupid if we walked away with a 110 million bid.
No, but what if they don't entertain it? I'm saying, Ben.
No, well, the fact of the matter is Liverpool, you know,
like as in because they're shit. They can't sign anything. They can't even, like, do you know what I mean? They're struggling to attract anything.
They've got no striker anyway, so what does it matter? So they're in no position just to bat it off. How can they turn that money down? Let's be real about it. Right now, they've got no striker. So, well, what's the point of keeping him? Because they're not going to play him. He's not going to play for them. There's no way back for him. Surely not. Whatever he's done, I think him and his agent have looked at him and went, if we do this, there's no way back. So, and they've gone with it. Do you know what I mean? So, do Newcastle just go, oh, fuck it, we're going to have to do it? Because I think the fans would end up just going, yeah, maybe. If you look at the timescales of it as well, Grizz, I can't. At first, I was thinking, does the game really have such meaning towards this bid stuff? But then I can imagine it being, because after this game, and at this game at St James's Park, they don't play at St James's Park again till after the international break. They sell them after our game. They're not in the heat. I think they're worried the fans are going to turn on the club. Personally, they've been shit this year. Eddie Howe's nephew's doing deals. What the fuck's he going to do? He can deal deck of cards. Do you know what I mean? He's just a waste of time by the all looks of it. And, in my opinion, they'd be... Okay, look, there's always a chance they could just go, nah, fuck it, we're not doing it. But who's won there? Liverpool haven't lost. We're the ones sat with a natural front three. They've lost because they've got no forwards. And so, looking at the game on Monday night, Virgil van Dijk and Kanate will be looking at Gordon down the middle going, we'll fucking have him. If that's all they've got to offer, all fight, no shit. They had that same the other night. They're not going to do anything with that. And if that's the case, they may as well just shut the doors and not turn up for the rest of the season, because they're not getting Champions League. They're not doing that. If they've got any sense, they'll take the money. I think they will get these little deals done, and they can build upon that. The lads have just spoke well on it. I just think Newcastle, they've tried to look the big man, but the walls have caved in. And I just don't think they can go back from it now. They had the opportunity last night to go, F you, he's going nowhere. Categorically no bid. That statement's got more holes in it than a sieve. Do you know what I mean? It's far too fluffy. You've been shouting your heads off. We've sat there with sunglasses on, smoking a cigar, watching the walls cave in, while Isak's just pouring petty all over the fucking St James's Park. Do you know what I mean? That place is looking an embarrassment. If they want to be a big club, well, it's just turned upside down on them last night. Do you know what I mean? They had the opportunity to tell everyone, we're the big club. He's not going anywhere. And they've just told everyone that he's for sale. That was a cry for Liverpool. Come and take him. Put the money on the table. Come and take him. I don't know how they can not take the money.